And joining us now from Toronto is Gerald Sheff. Thank you so much for being here on the CJN Daily.
Very nice to be here.
Well, I'm sorry we have to meet on this occasion, but who better to help our listeners and readers understand who Julia Koschitzky was and her contribution to Canada and the Israel and the Jewish community than you, who worked very, very closely with her in many ways over the years. First of all, our sincere condolences on your loss and on your loss of your friend.
Thank you. Everybody's loss.
So let's take a step back and tell us a bit when you first met Julia, or Julie as people called her. What was the circumstances when you first met?
I can't tell you when I first met her. I came to Toronto in 1971. I'm originally from Montreal. I moved here from Boston, though, in 71. And I would have become, I was young at the time. It's over 50 years ago. And I would have become involved in the Jewish community initially through UJA, fairly shortly after that, within a year or two. And somewhere around that time, or maybe a little after that time, I would have come into contact with Julie, because Julie's been involved in the community for so long. And as I assumed more and more responsibility in the community and got more and more involved, I got to know Julie better, traveled with her, and/or Henry and some of the members of their family over many, many years on various and sundry Israel trips. We were in Kyiv together. We were at Babi Yar together. 2.5 years ago, we were in Russia together. In fact, we met with Putin, believe it or not.
Tell us more about that. Why were you there?
Well, this was an international leadership reunion that the Russians were hosting in Moscow. This is a group of Jewish people from all over the world that meet every couple of years. I think 2 years earlier, if my recollection is correct, it was actually, a reunion was here in Toronto. And in fact, it was here in Toronto. And Julie, I think, was the chairman of it. Not surprisingly, Julie was chairman of Keren Hayesod, a worldwide operation, the Foundation for Israel, and her son-in-law David is now chairman in that capacity. So that's what brought us to Russia, to Moscow. Was a reunion of this international group of Jewish people from all over the world who are involved in Jewish philanthropy, particularly Keren Hayesod UJA philanthropy.
They said that the family has lost its voice.
Yes,
was one of the things that they said.
Yes.
And what do you know about her style, of the way she would speak with people? Everybody's saying things like she knew how to make people feel good and with dignity, and she had the right thing to say at all times. What can you tell us about that?
All true. She had extraordinary gifts of communication and empathy and kindness and subtlety and generosity and softness. She was literally loved by all. I can't recall ever having heard anybody saying anything bad or mean or nasty about Julie. And there's always somebody who has something bad to say about anybody. There's very few people who people don't sometimes make negative comments about. Julie is one of those few. She was exceptional.
Personally, you worked together with her, before her, after her, together with raising money for the UIA and for local federations in Toronto. Would you be able to quantify what the impact that she made is for people who don't know, or outside of Toronto, in terms of how much money and how many things she did?
Yeah, I can't quantify it in terms of numbers. I can qualify it, conceptually. I mean, the thing, I worked with Julie on many things over the years, But two things come to mind, particularly. One is we were co-chairs of the Operation Exodus campaign involving getting Soviet Jews from the Soviet Union, former Soviet Union, to Israel. There was Julie and myself, and there was Phil Granovsky, who was also another important Jewish communal leader of a previous generation. There were four others involved at the time. There were 7 co-chairs of this campaign because it was such a significant campaign, and it was the dominant thing that was going on in the Jewish community at that time worldwide. And I'd say Toronto set the pace and set the worldwide standard, including what was going on in the States in terms of raising the bar for how much money could and should be raised very, very quickly to take advantage of the Exodus and to bring these Jewish people to Israel. So Julie, traveled for this. We traveled to Israel together. I can't remember how many times, but and she was a brilliant speaker and inspirational. And apparently, there are some things on YouTube that people can go to. I don't think there's many, I'm told, or maybe there are many, but I think there are many more clips that the Jewish community here would have that probably could be made available to you. But Julie, she worked hard on her speeches. She measured every word carefully, and she was impeccable. Always got a standing ovation. It was her performances were consistently remarkable, I would say, raising the bar on herself every time.
They were saying, some of the comments I read, that she was basically Jewish royalty.
She was, but she never acted royally and never treated anybody. She treated others as if they were royalty.
Was it only the Jewish community that they were philanthropists and supporters for? Did they do, I know you guys are involved with the AGO and what have you, right? A lot of Jewish benefactors. Can you speak a little bit to that, if anything? I'm not sure.
Because of their, they were a modern Orthodox couple, they're a modern Orthodox family. The basic orientation of most of their philanthropical activities was oriented towards the Jewish community generally, and education in particular. That was their big focus. And I suspect that they did many things that people don't even know that are educationally related over many years here in Toronto and around the world for that matter, and in Israel, no doubt. And next to Jewish education, which they considered to be the most important thing, would have been general communal support, UJA, and so on. But from there on, it went out to other things. They were supporters of there's a Jewish Koschitzky chair, I think, at York University, and so on. But no, did they give to the general community? I know they were very large contributors on an annual basis to the United Way here in Toronto. They were very responsible communal leaders from a philanthropic point of view. But unquestionably, the basic thrust of their charitable giving would have been Jewish community in Toronto and Jewish education around the world.
Let me end by asking one memory of her that is special to you, you'd like to share with us.
Well, my wife told me the other day, she came across a picture of Julie and me this was at the time of the Gulf War, in 1991. So we both were in Israel, staying at the Laram Hotel. I had just arrived from England with a fellow named Jack Rose, who was another communal leader, who was one of the other 7 people in that Operation Exodus campaign. We were there for a Keren HaYesod meeting, which I was on the board of at the time. And the alarm went off very shortly after I checked into the hotel, and I found myself in this At the time, we were worried about gas, the Scud missiles coming from Iraq, and so on. And I have a picture of me sitting on the floor beside Julie, both of us wearing gas masks. And I think, if my memory is correct, she was reading Tehillim, her prayer book. That would be one. And then yesterday, another one would be Lisa Morrison actually sent me after the funeral yesterday. She sent me a photograph of Julie and I think Jack Rose and one other guy flipping hamburgers at some communal picnic up at the what is now the Sherman Center at some event. But the gas masks would be it.